Hey there, fight fans. John Pollock here. Lots of news to get into, including teammates refusing to fight. Woodley has his passport on standby for Montreal, and Bellator names their reality series coaches. Let's get it started. On Tuesday, Spike TV formally announced that Randy Couture, Frank Shamrock, Joe Warren, and Greg Jackson will be their coaches for their upcoming reality show Fight Master that will debut in the summer. The series will emphasize the strategic nature, with fighters choosing who will coach them, as well as who they will fight, with an all-welterweight season and a spot in a future welterweight tournament and $100,000 at stake. The injury bug has hit the UFC 158 card set for March the 16th, as Canadian Sean Pierson has pulled out of his welterweight bout with Rick Story. In to replace Pierson will be former Strikeforce fighter Quinn Mulhern, who enters this fight on a 3-fight winning streak. After a 36-second debut in the UFC this past week, Tyron Woodley is not planning to bask in the glory of his first UFC victory. He appeared on The Beatdown on Sherdog, stating that he has made it clear that if either Rory MacDonald or Carlos Condit are injured before March the 16th at UFC 158, he would gladly step in and wants to fight Rory MacDonald at some point. And UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez was interviewed by Ariel Helwani on UFC Tonight, stating that he is looking to fight later this summer, but states that he will not fight with his teammate at AKA Daniel Cormier, and thus these two teammates are not going to fight.
No surprises there. They've said it in the past that these guys are close teammates, but more than that, they are friends, so it doesn't make sense. And we know that the UFC has tried to bully fighters into facing each other in the past. It's not going to fly this time.
Does this make any sense, Robin, if you're Daniel Cormier, who seems that he has a golden ticket right now should he defeat Frank Mir in April? He is the most logical contender, and how much is he giving up here by staying loyal to a teammate?
I mean, that's sort of the trick, right? It's one thing to go and accomplish what you want in your career, in your job, in your sport. It's another thing to live your life. And when you're a huge dude, do you really want to go and hammer with a tiny little glove, elbows and knees, a really close friend in the face? That depends on how much money they're offering you, and that's up to each guy.
Off the top, we mentioned the coaches announced for Bellator's reality series Fight Master. Of course, we knew Randy Couture, and adding in Frank Shamrock, Joe Warren, and Greg Jackson, who did state during the conference call that no, Dana White was not aware he was going to be doing this, but I guess he is now aware.
Well,
so quite the Dana White fan club assembled in Santa Monica, California on Tuesday.
Man, Frank Shamrock, I mean, great for Frank. I mean, he's never getting a gig in the UFC. This is a perfect opportunity for him.
John's completely right.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity.
Can't burn a bridge that isn't there to begin with.
Exactly. When you have exploded a bridge, set TNT to it, blown it up, there's really no risk. And so for Frank Shamrock, this is a great gig. But man, if Greg Jackson just wanted to be hated by Dana White anymore, I don't know how he could have done it.
I really don't think it makes any difference for really Greg Jackson. He is separate from the UFC. He has an academy where his fighters come in, he trains them, gets them ready for the fights. It really has no bearing on the UFC.
What if Dana White says, hey man, you're not welcome in the arenas anymore. Well, you're not welcome at the side of the octagon, like they said to Randy. Don't rule it out from Dana White.
Well, this past week, actually, I contacted Keith Kaiser at the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and he told me Dana White and the promoter, they have no jurisdiction over that. It is up to the fighter. Now, certainly the promotion can influence the fighter, but it is up to the fighter to choose their cornerman. Should it be Randy Couture or Greg Jackson, the Nevada State Athletic Commission is not going to stand in the way of that person cornering them.
That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is I have personally rented this arena for the night from my company, and my security at the front doors will not allow whoever we want. We've had media banned from arenas before. We've had all kinds of people. If you're too drunk, they can kick you out. So I'm pretty sure they can kick him out if they want to.
We also have to remember he's also the coach of John Jones, a guy that was willing to get a show canceled. So if Greg Jackson isn't going to be at his corner, John Jones can say, hey, it's a simple solution. I don't fight. Either he comes in or you don't have a main event. Is the UFC really willing to cancel another show?
Now, it depends how mad Dana White gets.
Do you guys, kind of the setup of this, they really were trying to push that this is going to be a much more I guess, mature show in terms of this is not going to be the drunken exploits that you see on Ultimate Fighter, which was secretly coded as those other MMA reality shows during this press conference. But it seems that there's going to be a high emphasis on character development and really playing the strategy in all of this, with the guys being able to choose who of the four are going to coach them, and also getting to pick fights instead of the coaches picking the fights.
Yeah, I think this makes sense. Have something different than the Ultimate Fighter reality show. If you can really give your audience something fresh, something unique with where you're creating fighters that you're going to see in the Bellator organization. I think it makes the most sense. You want to get behind these guys, especially the ones with the best personality and the best fighting mentality. So I think this is a good way to expose these people to the masses.
I mean, I love what Bellator is doing so far, and it's great to see them going further. And you do need to expose these fighters to people. They need to know who they are. We need to care about who's fighting. Great action, great production, but we need to care. The unfortunate thing is, during the period of developing this show with the Spike TV people, The Ultimate Fighter just relaunched the brand new Fox show with beautiful looks. It feels like that UFC primetime. And unfortunately, this Bellator show, if it's anything like Ink Master on Spike TV, this ain't gonna be good.
I am waiting now. When is the raid coming? Because I've got to imagine the UFC has a giant graph on their big board with every Bellator contract that is coming due with anyone of consequence. Michael Chandler, Pat Curran, because I think they are just going to cherry pick and promise them whatever they can to bring guys over. And I think, obviously, Eddie Alvarez at the top of that list right now, which is in limbo.
Very true, but they're not going to go out and offer them $700,000 like they did with Hector Lombard just for this guy to lose and just not look great in his UFC debut. So I think the UFC, yes, sure, they're going to try to go after the biggest stars of Bellator, but Bellator can't be concerned with that. They have to be concerned with being the #2 organization, and that's to develop their own talent. With the, I'm sure they expect their top guys will eventually go to the UFC, so just focus on being #2.
And also, quickly, on Wednesday, it was announced Sean Pierson out of UFC 158. He was standing here on Friday.
What gives, Punisher? Like, come on.
He might have hurt himself on Saturday. We don't know.
I think we got worked right here on this desk. So, Sean Pierson, what's going on here? Give us the full Rick story next time you are here on this desk.
Cool. You can do whatever you want.
We've got more coming up, so stay tuned to Fight News Now Extra.